Today I'm going to speak about the science and practice of year-round production of mangoes in the Philippines. Actually, every quarter of the year, there is mango production in the Philippines, as shown here by our quite dated data from the Bureau of Agricultural Statistics. You could see that the peak production is during the second quarter of the months of April to June, no? And mostly, and this is for 2 years, and mostly this is for the Carabao variety, this one. So the other hatch lines, those are for other varieties, no? But the most dominant, of course, is the Carabao variety. It's occupying about 30% of our production. And however, the production areas are actually scattered all over the Philippines, and we occupy about starting from 4 degrees north latitude up to about 21 degrees north latitude for the northernmost islands, no? But the main production is in the big island of Luzon, no? So you can see here, it's about 57%, no? And this is the one facing the South China Sea. And the climate here is actually 6 months dry, no? But for the other areas, which still facing the South China Sea, or what we prefer to call the West Philippine Sea, the climate is about 3 months dry, no? So here in Visayas, contributes about 15%, and in the island of Mindanao, which is very near the equator, so like here, Davao is about 6 degrees north of the equator. And so the climate here is a bit different from the northern part. There's no typhoon here, whereas here in the Visayas and Luzon, we have an average of 21 typhoons coming into the Philippine area of responsibility in a year. But in Mindanao, we have only 1% passing through roughly in this area, you know, the Surigao Island. So the production is basically coming from the north, Luzon, and then some parts of the year, months of the year, it will be coming from Mindanao and Visayas. Look at this harvesting calendar, which is for the north central Luzon. You could see that the peak is from March, April to May, and some June, no? But the other months as well have lean months, no? But we are producing there, no? Also from October to December, no? And so not all provinces are producing, but definitely July, August to September, there's no production because this is also the typhoon months, and it's very risky to produce here. And so mostly the production in these months will be coming from the big province of Mindanao in the south because there are no typhoons in that area. Moreover, actually, the Carabao is very sensitive to anthracnose disease, so it prefers a long dry season. Okay, so what are the available interventions for off-season production? Well, the thing would be for induced early flowering, no? But I'm saying here that maybe we need to actually induce early leaf flashing. And for subtropical areas, no, wherein there is a mild winter, you can delay flowering. For example, in South Africa, this is what they do. They apply ProGib or a gibberellic acid spray to prevent flowering or delay flowering. And we are actually also developing delaying harvesting by on-tree storage. No? Here, my thesis student a long time ago, about 20 years ago, tried spraying GA at 50 to 200 ppm concentrations for here, and we were able to delay harvesting by a month. No? As you can see here, the control, which were not sprayed with GA, is now ripe, whereas the one sprayed with GA at 50 to 200 ppm is still green, no? So it's still marketable. So, but this has not been pursued more, no? But this is one strategy. Okay, so the main strategy that we have is actually this induce early flowering for harvest as early as October, as can be seen in this previous calendar. And this was made possible by Dr. Barba's report of flower induction by 1 to 3% potassium nitrate. So this was in 1974. And since then, we had to do a lot of research about this because this one needs 7 to 12-month-old leaves or 7 to 9-month-old leaves to be able to respond to the potassium nitrate. And the farmers complained that about only 60% of the time it works during the off season, but during on season it's okay, no? And during the off season, it usually requires a second follow-up spray. So we were thinking about this. What are the problems here? Okay, so we embarked on a series of studies to unravel the mechanism of Carabao mango flowering. As you know, it's most of our varieties or mango is about of the Carabao variety, 80%. So this led us to the hypothesis that for a potassium nitrate induced flowering, which I discussed in a paper I presented at one of the International Mango Symposium I think it was in 1999 actually. So, and so one thing that came out of our research is that Carabao mango sprayed with potassium nitrate is a case of flower forcing, no? And it is not flower induction because previously, like Dr. Barba was saying, it is inducing from vegetative to a reproductive state. But after you spray potassium nitrate, actually you get results, emergence of the buds in 2 weeks. So I thought that was quite unlikely. Okay, so the summary of processes, condensing all of our researches is something like this. As the dry season approaches, or through paclobutrazole application, the GA3-like levels would decrease, no? So this is one with dry season. And this, with the decrease in GA, this allows the total non-structural carbohydrates and starts to accumulate, no? And this leads to development of flower initials. So there are now flower initials there. And then you will now spray with a bud break agent. So it could be potassium nitrate, or it could be thiourea as used in Thailand, or it could be ammonium nitrate, or calcium nitrate, which is very popular now in the Philippines because it is cheaper. Okay, and then you will see that upon spray, there will be, actually we saw ethylene evolution, no? And then and there will be flower bud break. And all of this actually requires a lot of sunny conditions. So you could see the sun here. And if you don't have the sun shining, actually the flower bud break may take a longer time. No? And we found, of course, that it has something to do with carbohydrate accumulation. And we also found out lately with my PhD student, Besas, that there is actually epinasty occurring when you apply potassium nitrate. You could see here that the leaves are drooping really. And you could see there's already some flower inflorescence here, already inflorescence. So that is after 18 days before. But you could see that this is what you could, if you cut the primordium, the apical branch in half, apical shoot, you will see this. No? There's a slight protrusion, and that is what tells us that the buds are, the apex are ready for flower spray. But you could see that after 9 days, this has not actually progressed that much. No? But in contrast, the one sprayed with potassium nitrate, this is starting 0.074, you could see that this measured from here, it is now 1.029, and it's increasing in height on the 6 days, and after 9 days after flower spray, no, it is now like 3 millimeters. And looking at this better picture for after 6 days, this is without, and this is with. You could see that the flower initial has now grown, increased in size. So that is, so you could see that it is only after 6 days, and you could already see some activity, and you can see bud break externally in 2 weeks. Okay, so what are the key findings for our results? Well, when gibberellic acid level is high, starch will not accumulate because GA actually mobilizes starch. Mango will flower only when it has accumulated high starch content. So this is crucial. And paclobutrazole inhibits GA biosynthesis, leading to increased starch content. So this is what paclobutrazole does. And as mentioned, sunny conditions are needed for starch accumulation. And this probably explains why the rainy areas are not, so because they have rain, it's cloudy, so they're not very suitable for mango production. And floral initials are needed for flower bud break agents to be effective. No? As I've said, this is potassium nitrate or calcium nitrate or thiourea. Okay, some key evidence. You could see here that the GA content, or at least GA3-like content, is actually decreasing as the dry season approaches, which is starting November. No? And when you added paclobutrazole, the GA was actually drastically reduced. No? And correspondingly, for the same trees, the percent starch content was increasing. Although it increased also for the control, but it is significantly higher for those with paclobutrazol. Okay, as I've said before, it takes about 7 to 9 months before the leaves are mature for flower bud break. But in this study, we have shown here that there are now actually floral initials when you add paclobutrazol to the trees, as early as 3 months after paclobutrazol addition. So this is about when we say leaf mature. Before we didn't really know what that means, but what it means actually is that there are now floral initials that are ready for flower for seed. So at the end of 4 months, you have 86% of the shoots have floral initials, whereas in the control, about 42% have still a low number. Okay, so this is one of the field experiments we had in 3 different sites, and we had different concentrations of paclobutrazol, and 0.5, 1.5 grams per meter of canopy diameter. And at least it shows here that the GA level actually has also correspondingly decreased with increasing dose, no? And that the percent flowering trees could be also still 100% even with 0 paclobutrazol, but the intensity of flowering, that is the percent of the canopy that is covered with flowers, is much better when you have paclobutrazol. At the recommended rate here, you have 100% of the canopy have flowers. So this at least depending on the sites, 50, 75. In another site, it's usually 100. So that's 1 gram. But I think it also shows that at 0.5 gram, you can actually get also good results. Because eventually we've found out that you don't really need that much flowers. So with what is now known about the potassium nitrate spraying, how can we program production? Okay, it starts with leaf flash production. No? Because we found that the erratic leaf flashing hinders synchronized leaf production, synchronized production. So as we've said, the flower bud break agents would only work if you have floral initials, no? And so that starts with the aids. So synchronization of flowering is dependent on synchronized leaf flash production. So leaf maturity is not uniform if you have erratic leaf flashing, no? And also different trees will have different times of leaf flashing. So as much as 50% of the trees may not be productive for the current season. That's why we thought that actually biennial is the mode of flowering for Carabao mango. But it doesn't have to be. What actually happens is that we're waiting for leaf flashing to happen. You could see here that in this case, you can see that the dark green leaves, those are ready for flower bud break. But you can see there are now leaf flashes, so these are not ready. And again, so you will have some parts of the canopy only flowering if you spray during the season, no? So that's why if you don't have the paclobutrazol, you can only get less than 25% of the canopy with flowers. So this is the problem actually. Now, we found that only pruning can induce uniform leaf flashing. Pruning is a regular operation to induce annual leaf flashing in several parts of the world. In the US, Florida, Israel, Thailand, South Africa. And other methods we tried like spraying of 3% potassium nitrate, urea, and potassium nitrate have only about 50% efficacy. So, however, to prune in trees such as this, this is a very daunting task. So that's why we haven't been able to practice pruning as a country because of the big size trees. And our growers are actually very reluctant to have small trees. Okay, so how to manipulate timing of, I said here, annual production of Carabao with pruning and paclobutrazol. Okay, so if you have an early harvest by June, and then it should flush by sometime between January and March or even later April. So let's say to have it flush really, you have to prune and then fertilize. So so if you do this by March, then by April you will have leaf flush emergence, which is about 1 month. Then you add paclobutrazol, so to the 1-month-old flushes. Then you wait for 4 months. There will now be floral initials as we found out, about 86%. Then you can now spray with a potassium nitrate or other bud-breaking chemicals. So this would now be September, and then wait another 4 months or 120 days for fruit development. And so then you will harvest by January 15. So that is if you have this pruning and paclobutrazol. So not many are practicing this, but still they're basically in the south, in Mindanao, they're usually adding paclobutrazol, and they can get actually production or harvest for even like 3 times, because when it's fruiting, there's while still under fruit development, there will be new flowers, and then another flushing of flowers in a month or so. So some have this 3 months of harvesting. Okay, so essentially, you can have flowers like this when you have paclobutrazol. And you can see that even though paclobutrazol is a growth retardant, you could see that this actually have longer inflorescence. So at this point, it's not acting as a growth retardant, but more as for greater assimilate partitioning to reproductive parts. So that's why it's very important to maintain the low dose of about 1 gram of active ingredient per meter of canopy diameter. So there will be problems if you have an overdose. Okay. So the way forward actually is development of the anthracnose-resistant Carabao mango, because as I've said, we have our variety is very susceptible to anthracnose, and the anthracnose is what limits our production in certain areas and in certain times of the year. No? So, however, so we have done this, we have progress here from Dr. Ocampo's lab here, the institute. They have now a whole genome sequencing of Carabao, no? And then they have also come up with validation and molecular analysis of this SNP marker associated with resistance to anthracnose. So I was very glad to see this, and these are the people who will be taking over. I just retired, so basically this is our way forward, and probably with this anthracnose-resistant Carabao mango, we will be having a better and cheaper production during the off-season, because right now they are producing with 12 to 13 cycles of pesticides during the off-season in Mindanao, compared to just 7 cycles of fungicide sprays in the north. So, all right. So thank you for listening, and this is our presentation for today.